Welcome to the Empowered Podcast with Deanna Merlino, an all-encompassing personal development show where I will be sharing with you just how to transform yourself into the best version of you, both inside and out. From wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and manifestation, I'll be showing you exactly how to live your best life. I will be keeping it as real and raw as it gets. So get ready to peel back the layers and really transform yourself under the surface. Because nothing is better than finding your purpose and living this life as your true, authentic self. You've been hearing me talk about my new spiritual life coaching program. So by now, you know if you are ready to jump into something like this, but now it's time to make it happen. I'm running a special deal, and if you want to hear more, then it's time for you to reach out to me. You can check me out on my page, The Empowered Coach 333, and DM me for more information to get you ready to step into your higher self and your next level today. Hello, my empowered fam. Excited to be back with you guys today. Happy November. How is it November already? And this is the first episode of my series on manifesting, which is one of my favorite things. And we're going to start today with story time. And it's going to roll right into my tip and trick for this series. So we're going to go back to my trip to Nashville. So I earned a retreat from my network marketing company to Nashville. I was so excited. That's somewhere that I've always wanted to go and I haven't been as yet. So it was really nice to go there. And it was just like a period of time where things just seemed to be going from bad to worse, and like one thing after another, after another, after another. And this is where my tip and trick comes from. So we're going to start the day before I leave for my trip. So I had to get the lodge ready for a huge rental. So we have three houses on our rental property. And there was a church retreat that was booking it out. So all three buildings. So there was going to be 60 women on the property. Obviously, I wanted everything to be perfect, especially because they were return guests. My mom was still out of the country, so I am solely in charge. And we have a cleaning company, but there's so much turnaround in the industry right now that we're just having some issues with the quality of the cleaning, as far as I literally have to go there and clean after they're done cleaning. And this is a pain in the butt because I'm over an hour away and I have a life and businesses and I still work and I have my husband and my kid and like all the things. But my family business is so important to me and my mom left me in charge. So obviously I wanted everything to be done perfectly. So I went there expecting to do just a couple things. And when I got there, I ended up having to spend the entire day. So I didn't end up getting back home that night till I want to say it was 10 o'clock. And I hadn't even packed my bag for the trip the next day. So I was running on fumes, hoping that everything was going to go perfect for the retreat. My mom was to be coming back into the country the next day. So I wanted to make sure that there was nothing falling on her shoulders as she was just getting back into the US after a 3-month vacation. And she was actually going to be watching my son for me that weekend as well. So I just wanted everything to be perfect. Well, I leave, I go out of town, I'm so excited, and guest checks in, and immediately there's issues. And it just all kind of started tumbling down from there. So the guest had asked specifically prior that they wanted to make sure we left in all of our air conditioning units in the windows because apparently the year before they were hot, even though it's late October. And so I didn't want to leave them in because we are in the middle of the woods and I've been there for the last 30 years. So I just know that there are ladybugs during this season. And so against my better judgment, I did it anyhow. And there were ladybugs everywhere. So I did my best to clean up what I could. And the first thing they say when they get there is, "We're freezing. So can you," they wanted, I had already had blankets set up for them, but they wanted all of the wall heaters turned on, which are a super big process. And we hadn't done it yet for this season because we didn't think we needed to. So I'm like, no problem. I'm going to call my maintenance guy and we'll get it taken care of. Didn't think much of it. Maintenance guy is not responding, getting nervous. And then finally he says, I have COVID. I can't come. So I'm like, okay, no worries. I'll call my neighbor. Neighbors can't go. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll call my electrician. And because he's someone that I've had work for us, he didn't answer. So I was honest with them. I let them know that I didn't have anyone that could. Oh, I called my cleaners. Her and her husband went up. They couldn't get them all lit. So I was like, for now, turn on the electric floorboards. There's tons of blankets. There's firewood to start a fireplace if you can figure it out. I'm so sorry. I'm out of town. I'll make sure someone's there for you tomorrow. They said, no problem. I'm obviously worrying about it all night. Next morning, I wake up to they've flipped all the breakers, so they have no electricity. Still can't find anyone to come help them with the heat. I'm panicking. And then it just became like one thing after another. I'm supposed to be enjoying this retreat. Like, my biggest thing that I was so excited for was that I didn't have to feed myself for an entire weekend. I didn't have to feed anyone for an entire weekend. And instead of enjoying that, I was worried. I was literally sweating bullets about this. So my mom calls me and she's trapped in the Atlanta airport. She ended up being stuck overnight and she was supposed to be home that night at like midnight. She didn't end up getting in until noon. That's now this same day. And she had called to check in and she was like, how are the guests doing? And I was like, well, there's some things going on. Don't worry about it. And of course, my mom instantly needed to know. I told her, and because we couldn't find anyone, she ended up having to get off the plane, having no sleep because she'd been in the airport for an entire day, driving over an hour to tend to these guests. So I'm now having a literal meltdown. I'm crying in the bathroom. I had done so good taking care of this place as best as I could for the last few months. And my mom steps off a plane and immediately has to take care of stuff. So I'm upset. I ended up injuring myself in Nashville as well. I tore my glute. Fun times, guys. So like just one thing going wrong after another, right? I'm so stressed out. I'm juggling too many plates, just all these things. And then it hit me. I immediately get a download and it was almost like I was being laughed at. Like it was kind of like a, how long are you going to keep trying to replay this before you listen? And this is where the message comes in. You are not in control. You cannot control everything. So I needed to get to a point where I realized that I could control what I could and what else that I couldn't, which was like everything in this scenario. I had to let it go. I have this thing that we all tend to do where I don't like to ask for help. So I'll take on too much. I'll bite more than I can chew. And I think that I control the outcomes for all of them, and I can't. And that is when you're running out of ego. And we don't want to be running out of our ego, right? We just don't. When you run out of your ego, you are going to push everything away from you. You're making your manifestations take longer. You're making everything you want take longer to happen because you think you're in control and you're not. The goal, the number one way to manifest what you want is to surrender. And I got really excited when I look back at this now because I have done so much work that I've realized that when things keep seeming to happen that are not working for you, because I'm aware of it now, I don't switch into this like, woe is me. I switch into something needs to shift. Where's the lesson? I get excited because I know on the other side of it, some big things are coming. So that's a mindset shift that I want you guys to make is know that when everything seems like it's falling apart, it is falling apart for your good. And on the other side of that is the thing that you want or more. It's what you want or something even better. So surrender to everything that's going on in your life when things feel like they're not going how you want them to. It's because you're not in control. God is in control. The universe is in control. You are not in control. Do what you can. Focus on what you can and let go of everything else that you can't. One of the best ways to manifest your desire is to decide what you want, set the intention, take focused, intentional, aligned action, and then surrender. You're not in control. God is in control. The universe is in control. And the quicker you surrender, the faster and the easier your manifestation is going to come to fruition. You need to have childlike belief that whatever you want is yours, it's already yours, and it's on its way to you. Then let it go and move on about your business. I heard this recently in a podcast that for whatever reason, I can't think who it was, but I just heard it recently. And this is what they use to explain the type of belief that you need to have in order to make your manifestations happen, make your desires happen, make them a reality, shift them from a thought to a tangible thing. We know, you know, that the sun is going to rise again tomorrow. Always, no matter what, the sun will always rise tomorrow. It doesn't mean that I'm going to or you're going to. Eventually we won't, right? But the sun is going to keep rising tomorrow. And there's nothing that can happen and there's nothing that can take place that is going to stop the sun from coming up tomorrow. We need to have that kind of belief in whatever it is we're trying to bring to ourselves, that it's going to happen no matter what, because just you are innately worthy of it happening. Your existence is enough for it to happen. Whether that's money, whether that's partner, whether that's a successful business, whether that is whatever it is that you want, all you have to do is surrender and believe. So I want to ask you guys to take some time today to really look at, where do you need to surrender control? What are some things that you may be dealing with right now that you are trying to have too much control in, that you are putting too much on your shoulders with, that you need to set down and walk away from because it is not yours to carry? And no matter how hard you try, there's nothing that you are going to be able to do, whether that is a relationship where someone is just not seeing eye to eye with you, whether that is a job that you love, but you know that for whatever reason, it's not in your best interest anymore, whether your boss stinks, so you're not getting paid enough, or, you know, the treatment at your job is not right for you, or maybe there is whatever it is, what is something that you are trying to control the outcome, and the outcome is completely uncontrollable by you. And then make sure you do something about it. The most important thing that you can do for yourself, surrender to that. Know that it is out of your control. That is going to take weight off of your shoulder, and it's going to allow you to be able to put your focus to the things that you can control. Like, I don't know, finding another job, and I'm not saying leave your relationship, but if there is someone who you're just never going to see eye to eye with on something, you need to accept that and know that you're different people and you see things differently. Or maybe it's time to walk away. Just because we know the answer and just because it's right doesn't mean it's easy. But every time you let go of control and you allow what needs to happen to take place, I promise you it will always be filled with something better, something that is for your greatest and highest good. It won't be easy. It may not be easy. Maybe it is easy, but it might not be easy, but it is going to be for your best. It's like that. Have you ever seen that picture where Jesus is there's a little girl holding on to a teddy bear and she doesn't want to let it go. And Jesus is saying, but I have something better for you. And it's a giant teddy bear. This scenario is happening in our lives all the time. And we need to have that childlike trust and faith and belief in God and the universe, that there is always going to be something coming to us that is what we deserve and is meant for us. And it may be even better than we could ever imagine. So surrender your control. Stop functioning out of your ego. Have excitement for knowing when things go wrong that something beautiful is going to be on the other side. And know that there is always, your manifestation is coming. It's already on your way to you. And you're going to get that or something even better by making this one shift. Okay, friends, I will see you next week for our second installment in our manifestation series for the month of November. I love you all so much and have the best day and week as usual. If this episode resonated with you, please repost it, share it, send it to someone. Take a moment to write a review, leave me a 5-star rating if you haven't done so as yet. It means so much to me and it's so helpful for getting this podcast out there and helping others. I love you all. Take care. See you next week. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to find out more, you can follow me on Instagram at Empowered with Deanna and my personal page, Fit Deanna Lolita. You can also visit me on my website, which is deannamerlinofit.com. Make sure that whatever platform you guys are listening on, please rate and subscribe. And this means so much to me. It's going to help get me out there to help so many other people. I'm so grateful that you're here with me on this journey of wellness and self-empowerment. I cannot promise that it will always be easy, but I do know that it will always be worth it. Stick with me, and together, let's start living as the version of us that we were meant to be. Because the world is waiting for your gifts, and you deserve to live the life of your wildest dreams and beyond. So friends, let's get empowered.